This developing system is preparing to unleash additional impacts as it tracks past Central America. Current model guidance continues to show it being drawn toward the east-northeast, producing widespread and potentially powerful effects. I'll break down the latest data on that shortly. But first, remember, we are still dealing with a severe weather threat today. Strong winds are sweeping across portions of the west and northern plains, with gusts surging to 50, 70 plus mph in Montana and around 40 millitorrs in Wyoming. Thunderstorms are also firing across the southeast and the Tennessee-Kentucky Valley, and this line of storms is steadily lifting from Ohio toward the northeast, maintaining a risk for tornadoes. In fact, officials have now confirmed an EF1 tornado along Sycamore Road in Bismarck, Arkansas, with verified damage on the ground. Meanwhile, a train of storms I warned you about earlier is already lining up across Alaska, and I have new information coming from that region. The current system brushing Alaska will bring minimal impacts, but the next two storm systems look more serious, packing heavier winds for eastern Alaska and potentially another strong cyclone right behind it. Stay tuned. Conditions are evolving quickly. Latest tropical update: we now have power outages stretching coast to coast. Over 115,000 homes are without electricity from the west coast all the way to New England. Meanwhile, the latest satellite imagery shows Invest 98L becoming more organized, building deep convective thunderstorms near its center. While it does not yet have a fully closed low, it is very close, and once that happens, it will begin pulling in significant tropical moisture, increasing the flood threat across parts of the eastern Caribbean. Development chances have now increased. The system is up to 30% in the next 48 hours and 70% within the next 7 days, as it continues racing west at 20-25 mph. That fast-forward speed is actually limiting development for now, as the system cannot properly vertically stack, leaving storm tops sheared behind. However, once it slows down in a few days, that's when intensification begins. Forecast track. Big uncertainty. Ahead, my forecast from earlier this morning still stands. Once we move 24 hours and beyond, the forecast becomes highly uncertain. We still have an upper-level high pulling the system northward. A Caribbean ridge building westward, trying to drag it southwest. This tug-of-war places the system in a very unstable environment, ripping heavy bands of rain across the eastern Caribbean with flash flooding potential in the Leeward Islands. Around day 4, the system may begin splitting apart. A piece of energy may peel off to the east and northeast, forming a quick tropical storm, possibly even a Category 1 hurricane before dry air and wind shear weaken it. Yes, the main core of the system may continue westward, gradually strengthening into a tropical storm, then potentially a hurricane within 6 to 7 days. Ensemble models show 2 possible systems. According to the Google Minds ensembles, the system runs into structural issues in the next 3 days, which could cause a split, producing 2 separate tropical systems, one tracking east-northeast and the other heading west toward Central America. By day 6-7, ensembles show potential development into a major hurricane path, bringing it near the Cayman Islands, heavy impacts possible in Jamaica rain, and wind threats also for Cuba and the Bahamas as it gets pulled northeast by a trough. We now have a strong model agreement forming. Google Minds shows an east-northeast pull weather. Next Generation agrees with nearly the same path. GFS is now trending in the same direction. A clear pattern is beginning to emerge. The GFS remains a highly sensitive and fine-tuned model, and once we move roughly 3 days ahead, it continues to show strong convection being torn apart. Yet it still suggests that a new circulation could rapidly organize from that chaos. But by day 5, GFS already has the system too far along in development, making it the only model showing early intensification at this stage. If the system stalls in that region, as the GFS implies, it could lock into a dangerous holding pattern for several days. And that would be a very troubling scenario. Looking 8 to 9 days ahead, GFS depicts this evolving storm as a massive, sprawling beast of a system, something truly monstrous in size and strength. Hurricane models agree on delayed strengthening now. Shifting to models designed specifically for hurricanes, the picture becomes clearer. Hurricane Analysis Model A shows the same evolution. Around 72 hours, the system finally develops a defined, closed low and begins intensifying rapidly once it escapes wind shear and dry air. By day 5, strengthening would become significant. Hurricane Analysis Model B mirrors that forecast, showing real development only after day 3. Whether it organizes quickly or waits until day 5 depends entirely on how fast or slow the system tracks westward. The overall trend remains consistent. This storm pushes west, and by day 10, it may threaten Jamaica before curving east-northeast, the same pattern shown earlier. It's still too far out to lock in exact impacts, but we are seeing a clear, steady trend forming at the 10-day range. This storm could even interact with another system, feeding off additional atmospheric energy and eventually fueling storms for the lower 48 of the United States. Even the Canadian model is now drifting into agreement. It shows intensification after day 5 and into day 10, followed by a turn north or northeast as a large-scale trough develops, steering it on the same general exit path we already saw from ensembles and the European model. Steering winds will decide this storm's fate over the next 48-72 hours. An upper-level high forms and takes control of steering. One high-pressure center tries to pull the system north. Another high pushes it southwest, while a strong trough sends wind shear blasting over the system, blocking any escape north for now. In simpler terms, this storm is boxed in for a few days. If it tries to lift north early, as GFS suggests, it will hit a stall zone and spin in place for days. After day 3, we see a west-southwest drift begin, and by day 6, everything shifts west as new steering currents strengthen. Beyond day 9 or 10, another major weather pattern change appears, possibly pulling the storm north. That's the other system I showed earlier. Development, timeline, snapshot. 5th. We break this down step by step. Days 4-5, 96, 120 hours. Potential tropical depression forms, drifting west days 6 to 7, storm stalls. Convection ripped apart days 8 to 9. System regroups and moves further west. Day 10 plus begins turning north, possibly accelerating and intensifying Alaska, urgent situation. Continues switching to Alaska, conditions remain dangerous. The recent storm caused a storm surge over 6 feet above high tide in parts of western Alaska, pushing seawater miles inland. Boats, homes, and vehicles were lifted and swept away. More than 1,000 people have already been evacuated, and rescue teams are still searching for at least 30 missing individuals. Powerful winds remain in the forecast for southeastern and eastern Alaska Thursday into Friday, and another strong system could threaten the region late next week. There is an official slight risk for damaging winds across large portions of Alaska from October 26th. Through November 1st, please keep Alaska in your prayers. The situation is still unfolding. Final message to everyone watching from Jamaica, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti. Prepare now. Major flooding is likely as mountain runoff sends dangerous water downstream. I'll continue bringing frequent updates, so make sure you subscribe and follow. Remember, we do not promote fear here. We stay alert, not afraid. God is always in control. Yahweh covers his people. Before I close, a reminder from Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness. Amen. Stay safe, and once again, keep Alaska in your prayers. Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow.